G'day, g'day, g'day. Mathematical KM here. Remember their initials, not a title. Keith Malumbi. Welcome to the big leagues. Round robin with 10 players on the lowest seed, and you play every player one time. There's two such tournaments going on, kicking off today in the Tuggeranong Chess Club. The Masters and the Challengers, I've just made the cut for the Challengers. And if you don't make either of the two 10-people tournaments, there's an open one. But we're in the round robin. Let's see how we go. A couple of weeks off while they were playing silly short time chess. And this is sensible 60 minutes plus 30. We've got the white pieces. And we're playing Arav Rawat. He's 1587 to my 1435. So that would be 152 points uphill. Has he seen the Hippo? Let's see how we go. He takes the centre, we develop. Okay, so far so good. Nice, we're not going to be dealing with a 3-pawn on the king side. Mind you, we've put a bit of theory and work into that, but anyway. We come around. That's interesting. That's the automatic move. He brings out another knight on the other side. Very classical sort of a setup, principled play. Prophylactic. Develops his other bishop. We get our second fianchetto. Not quite yet. We see a battery. A3 is the auto move. He plays a4, it's interesting. And bishop to b2 is best. He castles. Okay, now we are at quite an interesting moment. I will give him his move after because now we have finished our full thick-skinned hippo. And we've got our usual plans to choose from. We usually don't do central pawn pushes. All of those, or getting the knights moving, that tends to be the choices. And taking a look, we don't have the space, but the current rating is a little bit in white's favour. The knight to f3, threatening the pawn, which is only protected by the queen, generally prompting e4, and then the knight pops out to threaten the queen. Or you can bring it around here. That's got, looking at the little board there, let's get me out of the way a little. So knight f3. He brings the e4 I was talking about. We would take with our d-pawn. He takes with his knight. Then we castle. Quite interesting. But anyway, so the computer most likes the knight to f3 plan. Or castling, fully setting up, castling the same side. Or c4. Which is putting pressure on this pawn, which is protected 4 ways. That's not usually how we work this out. Tend to go for the pawn that's less protected, which would be this one, which admittedly knight f3 does. This plan's not really a goer at the moment. It is interesting that I went with... and it's a shame, the computer's not showing it this time, but I'll tell you what. Bishop takes e5, queen takes e5, pawn fork is quite interesting. It's about plus 0.1. And then, of course, you'll move the queen and you'll get the bishop and the pawn safe for a little while. But that's not one of the usual plans, so something to look out for if you've got that sort of a setup. Anyways, I've gone for one of the standard his king's on the king side. Let's advance on the king side, taking space. The pawn forward again is always an opportunity. But you'll see that it's gone to plus 0.7 for black, which is more typical with black having all that space. It is the knight to f3 and then threatening the bishop was more active if I was to try and work out why that's so much better. But I may ask some of the other guys in the chess giant. I'll put his Hippo course link in the comments below. But yeah, in his Patreon we've got a fair what do you call a cohort of Hippo players? I'm not sure. But anyway. So pawn forward and typically knight coming in behind. But we've dropped into a plus for black. What does black do? Sort of betters his skeleton over there. And knight to g3 is what I've played. It's funny. Look where his knights are. In the standard Hippo starting position. There's got to be perhaps something to that. Now the best move for me right now is apparently d4. Knight f3 is also good. Knight f3, that other old standard plan, attacking that pawn, which is... Now it's got two pieces, a knight and a queen protecting it, but from there... Got moves like going out and threatening that bishop, and at the moment the bishop would be... Well, he'd be forced to trade it. I'm going to move it to here, and it is protected. So moving up to move 13, let's have these going on there. I brought the other knight round, and it did provoke the e4 move. And I was kind of hoping it would, because if I take him back, ain't no way he's going to take me back. Because if he does, sure, it's called getting the ladies off, but I'll take his queen. He'll take my queen, and then I'll win the second central pawn with this knight and be threatening that bishop. So I'd win a central pawn and the queens would come off, and that would be... I wouldn't mind that too much. So, and my best move is d takes. I played it. It's called great, obviously, because those sorts of things can happen. Strangely enough, all three of his best moves are just keeping the tension there and not taking. His best one is just pushing that a4 forward, or queen to c7, getting the queen out of town so that moves like a takes are okay, or getting rook over and just getting bigger in on the big explosion. But he's given that bishop a square. Now knight to d4, threatening that bishop, making it go back, is my best move. If he takes that knight, then I can, undouble the pawns, and knight for a bishop. E times d5 is second best, still at nearly +2. Castling, we dropped not that much, it was still a good idea. 1.8. Because now when this explodes, my king will be a bit safer. He moves his queen out so that that's all okay. But now I currently still have 8 pawns, he has 7. If I can't undouble it, the best thing I can do with it is win one more pawn with e takes d5, which I played. He takes back with the knight. Now, knight to e4, threatening a bishop, and being attacked by a bishop, but trying to get a knight for a bishop. That's the best deal. Knight to e4. Knight to d4. That was knight to e4 there. He's threatening that bishop. Knight to d4 is threatening that light bishop and attackable by the other one. And bishop to d4, third best. Trying to get rid of that dark bishop, trying to swap it off. I've played the third best, so we're still okay. We're still up nearly +2, and we are up a whole central pawn. So we're up a point of material and a half a point of position, I guess. So I'm going to move 17 here. And I have... Oh, I played the third best with the bishop coming in. And he's come in. And... nearly. This is tactical strength of my 150 up opponent. But I've nearly outplayed him in here. Let's watch these tic-tacs, and this is a learning curve for next time. His big idea is if he takes this pawn, dare I take the knight back with this pawn, winning a knight, his queen can win this knight and be right in my king's face. So I've thought the best thing I can do after he's played this knight sack is take the knight with the bishop, which is the best move, up +3. And that way the pawn is still protecting the knight. And I'm up a piece. This is a key, this is the turning point in the game. He's broken it open at the cost of a knight. And with the right defence, it'll be a win for the mathematical KM. So far, right defence. Okay, he's taken with the bishop. Now, we know what we can't do, should not do, is take with the pawn. That would be bad. How bad? Let's take a quick look. It's not going to be good. It's in black's favour. Material equal, but look where that queen is. That's just not good. And I knew that that would not be good. So what we need to do is, currently we're up +3 in material, is we need to protect the knight. So he's come in. It's still +3.8 to white. And the material's equal. Kind of crazy. We've got to protect that knight so that the pawn can take the bishop. Or we have to be ready to take this pawn with a piece that will protect the knight, so at no stage the knight is not protected. The good moves are queen to e1. So if the bishop takes the pawn, the queen can take the bishop. Or if at that stage the queen takes the knight. Well, let's have a quick look at that one. This is the key moment. So let's say we instead played queen to e1, the best. Bishop times... Wow. Still big plus to white, but bishop takes that pawn. It's crazy. Knight f to e8. But what it hasn't got is, if he takes the pawn, The queen takes. That's just way. So he can't get away with that. What if he were to take the knight? Looks a bit more natural because the pawn can't take back. We take that, the material's equal, and it's a bit better. My queen's in his queen's face, his queen can't come in here, and I'll probably move my knight somewhere, threatening a bishop which is unguarded, hanging, and the queens are looking at each other. So all of it is just much better, and it feels like that week and a half off because of the short form chess, the do no harm. I've seen the problem, and I know that I can't take the bishop. The bad move, and it doesn't change the bones, but it does reduce the activity of the pieces, is I have given myself a terrible pin. The knight can't move, and what's more, bishop to f4, best next move. He's going to play it. The queen and the bishop pinning that knight to my king. And we've jumped from plus 3.5, call it. That's a little bit, it's actually a bit more. Plus 3.5 to white to plus 1.2 to black. So that's 3.5 and 1. 4.5. Terrible move. Terrible move. That is a blunder. Okay. And in the review, this is, I believe, right here. So we were doing swimmingly right up to here, and it goes in and becomes black's game, but you can see we're going to fight hard and we're going to get the game back on our terms. We're going to go more than +1, +1.25. So how do I fight back and get up off that canvas? Let's go and continue and see how I fight my way out of this terrible pin that I've given myself. He adds his bishop to the pin. Now for now, he can't actually take because bishop takes, pawn takes, queen can't take because king would take back. So let's try and get some activity into the pieces, threatening a hanging bishop. So he's moved the bishop. We're still 1.3 for black. Okay, so now we've moved a rook across. If we can make that work, we could have a fork on queen and rook, but he's got a bishop. But if I was to go in there now, and he took with the bishop, I'd take back with the rook, and it'd be a knight for a bishop. Wouldn't be the worst. And he's disconnected the rook from those squares, maintaining his pin and threatening this knight to a point. He's, one piece on it, and there's the queen on it. My best move at this point would be c3, protecting with a pawn. But, and this is a bit of a mistake, this is where it's all looking a bit harsh. I was looking to double up and get another rook in there. And strangely, knight to b5, threatening the queen, is the go here. Because his big little plan right now, nice tactic, but I'm going to defeat your tactic this time. His tactic is, if you move your knight, we don't care where you're going to go. We're going to grab your rook. We're going to go up the exchange. But no, because sure, grab my rook, I'll grab your queen. So that was not a bad move. What does he do? He moves his queen. And no guts, no glory. I did think very, very hard, and I very nearly played, and it may have ended with a different result if I'd gone with this option. I nearly played queen takes hanging knight, and no doubt he would take and go up the exchange. Or maybe, because if he did, I'd take it back, and I would have a knight and a bishop for a rook, and my queen would be right there. And for now, the pin would be off my king. It's like +1 for white. It's better than probably the easier to find and more passive. So I've been message here about active moves rather than passive perhaps, and fully also got to work on my calculation playing these guys, because I'd win a knight, he'd win a rook. Noticing the queen is protecting this knight, and then I'd win a bishop. So the two pieces for the rook and my queen would be down there, and the pin would have gone. +1 to white. See it now? And thought about it in the game, but went for the second best, which is like a whole point worse, knight to c3. Which is just about even, but I'm still the one finding it more difficult. I'm on the back foot. Queen takes knight, I would have been on the front foot. Oh, let's go. Getting a knight behind my queen, that makes perfect sense. Knight to d5, protected by the bishop and by the queen, and for now he'd only have the one piece on it. Not the worst choice, but I've instead brought rook behind the queen. He's threatening the queen with his rook. Knight to d5. You can't ignore it because it's threatening his queen. Is best. Still roughly at 0. Queen out of the way now. Queen to e3. 0.3 to him. And the third best, but worst by more than one, bishop there, which is what I've played. I was thinking, and he's played a good move next, king to h8 is his best, by far. Because I was thinking I could take the bishop with check. He'd have to take there, and then I could move my queen and it would all be relatively okay. But he moves his king and my bishop's still stuck there. It's got two pieces attacking it. I've got 3 defending it, but, which you'd think is enough, but no, because the second piece in is the queen. If he talk, I talk. Not necessarily very good for me at all. And this is a huge mistake right here. One of my pieces protecting that bishop is the knight. This is, I think, one of the reasons why having the knight in rather than the bishop in is because leaving it with my knight, bishop can go for a fair trade. Now there's only one piece protecting my bishop and 2 pieces attacking it. He can distract the defender, which he was unable to do if I had my bishop being one of the defenders and the knight in there. Much stronger. So that's just something for me to keep an eye on. So that's bad. He takes. I take. And he's got 2 pieces on the bishop. I think that was my best move, but you can see it's 4.5 to black. Brings his king back. We're down to playing hope chess, because we're that far behind. That would be nice. Looking at a fork. Will he let me have the fork? No. The queen comes down. And comes down with the check. King comes across. This knight now prevents that fork. King F1, now getting the king out of dodge makes much more sense, but it's all pretty bad. The knight protects the pawn. I thought I'd try and move his knight along. Oh, he's just toying with me. -5, but he's toying with me. It'd be a queen fork. But stopping it. Check. And it's -7 there. I shook his hand just there and then. So coming back to the review, let's look at the highlights. '72 to '79. We didn't go with the very best plan after the breather moment, which is something I'll talk about with the guys, but fought back, got it up to plus 3.69. I worked halfway through this tactical skirmish, and you could say that's where the game was lost. Should have been a queen here or even here. Gave it away to black. I fought back in the plus and then let it slip and didn't get off the canvas a third time, like Rocky fighting the Russian. Didn't manage that and lost the game in the end. But lessons learned. There'll be a little bit on looking at, for that particular fairly unique situation, what the best move after the breather moment is. But also that's do no harm. Do not introduce a pin on. Don't pin a knight to your king, especially where it can just be made that much worse. And what else? The more active choice of the queen taking the knight instead of just coming back with a passive defence there and getting 2 minor pieces for the rook would have been better. So all in all, quite an entertaining first game in this round robin, and a real welcome to the big league for the Mathematical KM into this round robin. I'll see you guys next Tuesday after round 2 of the round robin. Bye for now.